What if all your struggles were actually your greatest tools? Normal people uses negative feelings as an excuse to not work harder, but David Goggins flips it around and uses it as fuel instead. If you don't know who David Goggins is, he is basically a person that constantly pushes the limit of what a human is capable of. Some of his notable achievements are being a Navy SEAL, running multiple ultra marathons, and doing 4,030 pull-ups in 24 hours, and many more. Never Finish is David Goggins' second book, which is where he shares his past experiences from an abused child to becoming the toughest man in the planet. Here are the summary of the advice and actionable steps that is provided in this book. My name is Aaron. I'm on a journey to earning $30,000 a month, and this is where I share what I have learned with you. If you are interested in the 18 lines written summary, the link is in the description below. Don't worry, it's completely free. This summary might not be as good as other summaries, but I'll speak from my personal experiences on how it helped me just so you can relate just a little bit more. Okay, so let's start breaking down this amazing book with the first core idea Goggins covered right in the introduction. Many of us have heard believe in yourself, but what does that really mean? For Goggins, belief isn't just repeating motivational phrases and hoping for the best. Real beliefs comes from pushing through intense challenges, exhaustion, pain, fear, doubt, and even the desire to quit. According to Goggins, there are two levels of beliefs. The surface level belief in yourself that fades when things get hard, and then there's the belief that's built through resilience. This second level is about proving to yourself again and again that you can get through anything. It looks a lot like desperation, a hunger to push forward that no one else can give you. There is many inspirational one-liners in this book, and this is actually one of my favorite lines. Resilience looks a lot like desperation. Throughout my whole life, I have been complimented on my fast learning skill, which led me to believe that I am intelligent. Because of that, I quit on most things that was hard simply because I wanted to look cool. And as you and I know, people that are desperate doesn't look cool, they look more like a beast hungry for food. However, after reading this, my mindset immediately shifted and I stopped caring about being stupid temporarily because I know I will be better with practice. It just means that we should not be afraid to disappoint people. Real change comes from resilience, and resilience means finding strength when there is none. I honestly don't understand what does that mean practically, but it sounds cool to say. I don't know any scientific method to it, but it definitely does sound true. I mean, the man literally runs so much to a point where he is still running even though his bones fractured and blood is coming out. But David Goggins has said this in one of his interviews with Andrew Huberman. He basically said it's never really about the running. He just wants to add more suck in his life to increase his mental toughness. I think that sounds incredibly masochistic, but honestly, ever since I heard that, there was a point where I literally have a schedule to do one thing that sucked every single day. And when you do it, it just feels very rewarding, and I noticed that I actually could do harder and harder things as time goes on. I don't want to butcher the scientific stuff on this, but I will link the interview of David Goggins and Andrew Huberman where they discuss about this more. But basically, in the interview, Andrew Huberman talked about the part of our brain that grows when we are doing something that sucks every day, which will improve our mental toughness. However, the key point is that the task has to suck. Which means that if you like taking cold showers, then it isn't really going to grow that part of your brain. But if you're someone that hates cold showers and takes it anyways, then that would grow that part of your brain. David Goggins said to stop asking why me and stop blaming our circumstances. Because the scary but very real truth is that our dreams and visions comes with expiration dates. So we cannot afford to waste time complaining and doubting our own abilities. When I read this, there was like a flash of what would my life look like if I don't work hard to achieve my dreams. It was actually very scary to think about. You're old, you have absolutely no achievements under your belt, and you regretted not working hard when you were young. So David Goggins suggests to adopt a mindset that you have no choice to quit, and the only option is to keep fighting until you overcome everything. This is something I'm always trying to incorporate in my life, where we shouldn't even have a plan B. A lot of times we will have a backup plan just in case the main plan fails. For example, they will tell themselves, oh, I'm going to start a new side hustle, but if it doesn't work out, out, at least I still have my full-time job. There's nothing wrong with that, but I noticed that whenever I have a way out from my main plan, I tend to get lazy, or even worse, I will work on my plan B more than my plan A. This is pretty much what happened when I had my job and doing this YouTube stuff. I literally didn't upload consistently anymore because I was just so comfortable. I eventually quit my job and all of a sudden I started working on my goals again. Of course, I'm very aware on how lucky I am to have the privilege of people around me to support my goals emotionally and financially, which allowed me to quit my job. But the point is to find some ways to basically burn the bridges behind you just so you have no choice but to move forward. David Goggins takes a unique approach to emotions. Winners in life see everything they experience, hear, and feel as pure energy. Instead of ignoring negative feelings or trying to turn it positive, he suggests using them as fuel. Do you remember the time when someone said you couldn't do something and you just want to prove them wrong? I know I felt that a lot of times. The feeling of anger fueled you more than any positive feeling could ever accomplish. And that's what Goggins would do, taking the hate he got and turn it into motivation. Whenever you are feeling tired, lazy, basically showing any weakness, one technique he recommends is record yourself venting out your thoughts and frustrations, then listen to it. After listening to it, record yourself again, but this time pretend you are motivating a friend or loved one. It means being respectful and positive of the issues they face, but still being forceful and realistic. Something to keep in mind is David Goggins suggests to record yourself with audio instead of writing it out, because it apparently has more effect on the mind. I believe this is the first real action that is shown in this book, and I find this trick helps a lot, especially even at the start where I'm just listening back to myself whining. I would already feel motivated because I get annoyed at myself complaining about all the minor issues. I think this is quite similar to journaling, except it is in audio or video format. But I believe this is slightly better than journaling because it adds the extra step of actually addressing the issue and solving it by yourself. Similarly, mental and emotional scars should also be addressed. As David Goggins said, sometimes you need a hard stop. Stop yourself from sliding before you hit rock bottom. He suggests to find relatable people who have survived what you have been through and can help you heal. But make sure that you aren't trying to get pity from them. The more the person, either your family, friend, or anyone that validates your complaints, the more you'll feel comfortable and you'll crave for more external validation, becoming less independent. Don't feel sorry for yourself, adjust to the limitations and not just use it as an excuse to reduce your effort. If you use your scars as excuses to make life easier, you've missed an opportunity to become better and stronger. Appreciate what you have while staying hungry enough to learn everything that you can. When we feel safe and warm, we tend to set a huge goal, but we quit whenever we hit a brick wall. This is where one of Goggins' key strategies comes to play, which is called the 1-second decision. If you have heard of the 5-second rule before, no, 1-second decision is not the same as that. He states that everything in life comes down to how we handle those crucial seconds. Instead of quitting, take a few breaths and think of the potential future if you quit right now. But make sure that you aren't thinking about it too much. Just think within seconds. If the decision you reach is to not quit, remind yourself that nobody is great at the start. The feeling that you have now will end someday, and that makes it doable. Because quitting on a dream have consequences, it will always stick with you and will change how you see yourself. But in contrast, overcoming your doubts will stay too. However, if quitting is really necessary, and this is another one of my favorite one-liners, make sure that you are only quitting when it's easy, not when it's hard. Go through the difficult part first to know that you aren't quitting simply because of an irrational reaction. David Goggins said something that reminded me of this one clip from Alex Hormozi.
If you can shift from "this is hard" to "no one else will be able to do this," then it flips from being this thing that you're like, "oh, poor me," to "oh, poor everyone else who's going to have to try."
When things get hard, normal people will look for signs on when it will end, but for high achievers, they wish it would have lasted longer. Personally, I believe that if you constantly remind yourself on just this line, you'll go from being down and frustrated to being extremely happy when things are hard. Because high achievers knows that the harder it is, the less people are going to go for it, which means lesser competition for them. In other words, as what every life coach says, and pretty much everybody already knows, we need to be more disciplined. And the good thing about social media is that most people aren't doing anything except scrolling through this metal box. So it's very easy to be great nowadays because all you have to do is become the person with a never-ending task list. Make sure that whatever job that you do, regardless of how small you think it is, do it with 100% effort and you'll be more confident that you can take on a harder task. Another great one-liner is find the lesson in every situation, terrible task or low-wage job, see it as opportunities instead of burdens. Our goals are only as big as what we believe we can accomplish. Each time we improve, our mind will try to bring us down and we will continue doing the same thing over and over again while nothing changes. To counter this, train your mind as if you are already there. I think what David Goggins said is quite similar to visualization, where you imagine yourself in the future already accomplished your dreams. After that, focus on taking one step at a time to achieve that goal. I have tried visualizing occasionally. It's a little embarrassing, but I would visualize my YouTube channel blowing up, getting a lot of views and such. But it requires a lot of repetition for you to actually change your core beliefs, especially when the goals you are trying to achieve isn't something normal. It's also hard when your goals basically turn upside down and we lose our desire to succeed, thinking that quitting would be easier. However, we should constantly remind ourselves on why we chose to be there in the first place. Sometimes we might even need to go extreme and have the even if I die mindset. And remember, the best life lessons comes when your goals and pretty plans turn upside down. I'm sure you have heard of this quote before, you are the 5 people you spend the most time with. David Goggins also said the same thing, your inner circle is extremely important. Even if you are working hard, the wrong people around you will make sure you go nowhere. Have a partner that would wake you up so you don't hit the snooze button and miss your training. Have someone who happily eats the same bland foods when you are on a diet, or stay up late just to study with you. Because if you have the same weak people around you that isn't evolving with you, you might subconsciously stop your growth just to be with them. In the worst case scenario, if you really can't find anyone, it's still better to fight alone and eventually finding someone on the same path as you. One-liner incoming, small minds and weak people kill big dreams. Personally, I don't really understand how does one just kill their relationship with other people when they aren't growing with you. It is to be expected that there are a lot of people like that in our lives because you and I are in this almost insane journey of reaching a higher level which most people wouldn't understand. But I feel it's really hard to just kill off a relationship like that randomly. So I did take some time to reflect on my life and I noticed this interesting point. For some reason, I do get influenced by people that I don't spend my time with a lot or even at all. Conversely, although I spend a lot of time with someone, I don't really get any of their traits as well. So instead of completely killing off the relationship, I learned that it's actually more accurate to say that you are the average of the 5 people you compare yourself with. That's a lot more reassuring to hear. Now I don't have to hurt the feelings of my one imaginary friend that I have. Okay, so we are getting closer to the end and a lot of it is quite short, so let's go through some of the valuable actionable steps quickly. Number 1, whenever you are feeling negative, set a big goal that stretches your limit. It usually prevents you from feeling sorrow. Number 2, don't go to bed when you have a terrible day because you will wake up feeling terrible too. Make sure you achieve something before that. 3, leadership is best when you are setting an example through actions rather than words. 4, imagine you're being watched. I can confirm this definitely works. I would sometimes record myself using a camera and have the lens stare directly at me to increase the effect. 5, create your own oath to self. Aim for your own standards and core principles. Don't rely on other people to be your guide. Whenever you feel down, revisit your oath. 6, think failure as attempts. Greatness is based on your attempts, not outcome. Don't drop your head when it gets hard because you are telling yourself and others that you think you don't have what it takes to get better. don't give people around that satisfaction. I really love this because it helps with your mindset when you stop looking at the results and just focus on the action. I will get really sad sometimes when I look at, let's say, my YouTube videos. I work on it very hard and it would get like 100 views. But when I focus on just making the videos and not worry about the numbers, I feel so much more fulfilled and happy that I did what I said I would do. 7. Seek greatness forever. This is the one thing that sets David Goggins apart from everyone else. A lot of people have a fixed mindset, which means that they believe that qualities like intelligence or talents cannot be changed and is something you are born with. However, David Goggins has a growth mindset where he believes that as long as he puts in the work, the skills can be learned and eventually achieving greatness. This book definitely isn't one of those normal self-help books with a more structured format. It takes a lot of time to really dissect and understand what David Goggins is trying to say, but the book is definitely no doubt one of the best books if you are demotivated. What I normally do whenever I'm lazy or down, thinking that my dreams can never be achieved, I just simply open up the summary, read a few lines, and I'm motivated again. So try it out and let me know if it works for you. Speaking of dreams and goals, I am currently in an absolutely insane journey to earning $30,000 a month. Click this video if you are interested. Thank you for watching and see you in the next video.